Appeals meeting of May 30th, 2019 is now in session. The first order of business is to approve the minutes from the previous meeting on May 9th. Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any modifications or discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any in opposition? So moved. The minutes are officially adopted. The second order of business is to adopt the resolutions from the prior meeting. However, there were none from that prior meeting. So we'll move on to the public hearings on today's agenda. Today, we're going to conduct the public hearings, and the first the applicant or the applicant's representative will state the reasons for the requested variance and present any material or documentation which is to be considered regarding the proposal. Next, persons wishing to speak in favor of the proposal will be given the opportunity to address the board. Then, persons who wish to speak in opposition will be allowed to address the board. Finally, the applicant or a representative will be given the option of making any closing arguments or comments to the board. Following the public hearings this afternoon, the board may make a decision on each application heard. The board may also decide to hold the decision until the next public hearing. If the hearing is closed, no additional information will be allowed into the record, except for information that the board may request. That information will be available for public review at the zoning office in City Hall Commons. Staff will now introduce the first application.
Hello. Our first application today is V1916, an area variance for maximum driveway width and required front yard at 2560 South Avenue to expand a driveway. Owners Paul and Michelle Axford are here. The property is in a residential Class A1 zoning district.
Thank you. Let's see. And if you'd like to approach. Okay.
Hi, my name's Paul
And please state, oh, thank you.
Paul Axford, and I live at 2206 Euclid Ave.
Okay. And you are the property owner at 2560 South Ave?
Yes, we are.
Now, during our last session, you presented some information to us about your case, and it also kind of is similar to the case next door as well, which is also
Correct,
the next
yes.
one on our agenda for today. Did you have any additional information to provide to us today?
Once I resubmitted another drawing and a picture, because after the side of the house there, the land drops right off, so I have no turnaround. And my last submitted drawing is the least amount of blacktop I can get on there and still get two cars on safely. And the main reason is because if there's two cars, nose to bumper, someone has to back out and block the traffic or drive out and block the traffic on South Ave, so to let the other person out. And sometimes in the winter that becomes a dangerous situation.
I can imagine. So am I to infer, staff, that this new proposal still does require a variance? There was no way of being able to do it to avoid a variance, is that correct?
That's correct. They needed a little bit in front of that 20-foot mark where the required setback is. They could place the entire parking space beyond that, but in order to access it without driving on grass, they would need a minimal amount of pavement to access that.
Okay. So the actual amount that they're requesting is how much?
6 feet.
6 feet.
And it's like a 45, just so you can squeeze the car around the back. It's a triangle of 6 foot by 6 foot. So it's not a full 36 square foot.
The drawing that we have in our packets, is that an accurate representation?
Yes, page 23.
Yeah, it's a scale drawing, and I made a little scale drawing of the car. If that was parked there, you need enough room just to squeeze by.
And it is significantly less than what we saw the last time.
Exactly, yes.
Does anybody have any questions?
Now, being so close to the drop-off, are you going to have to make a retaining wall or something to keep?
No, it's where this piece of the blacktop will be is still level enough just for the run across and so on. if I wanted to make enough to put a car to park it opposite, then they would have had to have a retaining wall, but, no, this should be sufficient enough to, just to do the blacktop and the base coat, or whatever.
Any other questions? Okay.
Well, since you're not the other case, but the, the, the other home does not have that drop-off, it's flat, is that correct?
The other home is flat, but the person that suggested that, because these are side-by-side townhouses, it would be better if they looked the same. And it would cause, you know, be a better aesthetics, really.
Any other questions? Thank you very much. Is there anyone who'd like to speak in favor? Hearing none. Anyone who'd like to speak in opposition? Also hearing none. So we will move on to the next case.
I'm not here.
Not here.
Yeah.
The next application is V1917 for an area variance for a maximum driveway width and required front yard at 2562 South Avenue to expand a driveway. The owner applicant is Queen E. Williams. The property is located in a residential Class A1 zoning district.
And am I correct in assuming that she is not here to represent her property today?
That's correct.
Let's see, we previously postponed this case and held it over, but we haven't gotten any additional data or any information.
I did speak with the property owner approximately 2 weeks or so ago and explained the situation. She said that she had spoken with Mr. Axford and agreed and that she would submit an updated plan. I asked her to submit that as soon as possible, as well as a letter noting that somebody was going to represent her. And then I followed up with an email last week, and I have received nothing.
They did not attend the last meeting either?
No. So, I guess we have a decision to make as to whether we're going to decide based upon the information we have, or simply hold the case over, or... Oh, absolutely. Yes, we'd love to hear from someone who wants to speak.
I did the same thing. I talked to the owner and showed her a picture of what I'd drawn up and suggested if she made a mirror copy, then that would be possibly acceptable. And that, I mean, I didn't follow up and see if she did it. I just assumed they were gonna follow up on that.
And about how long ago was that?
That was the day after the meeting, last time, so May 10th.
Now, I'm assuming that the same paving company is gonna do both properties, correct?
Yes, it'll be nice to get it done at one time, and then obviously cheaper, and you're not gonna have any joints or seams in it.
Maybe we should entertain holding this one over till the next meeting.
I don't think she's gonna show up for the next meeting.
I think they're out of town.
We could submit the documents, we could reject what we have
They
in front of
don't
us.
live in town. They have a property manager who was supposedly going to come for the meeting. She never gave me his contact information, but I did tell her today's meeting date.
But she would be able to refile at any time, correct? If we,
The proposal was different.
because the proposal would be different than was originally proposed.
So could we deny it without prejudice so she could refile?
Then, since there's no one else here to speak either for or against or on this particular case, I guess we'll move on to our authorizations, or close our hearing for today, move on to our authorizations, and then make a decision. I'm sorry, what was it? Vote and then authorize, sorry. A little out of order there. Okay, so would anyone like to make a motion on our first case today?
I'll make a motion, we approve.
Is there a second? I'll second it.
Will there be a change to the neighborhood character? I believe no. Is there an alternate solution where we wouldn't need a variance? Well, we've gone over now several weeks, and I guess the answer to that is no. Is the magnitude big? Not really, because we're cutting down to only a 6 foot of land is being asked for at this time. Is there an alternate, will this be an adverse effect on the surrounding neighborhood? I don't think so. And is it self-created? I'm gonna say not.
I agree with that. I would also add that with the self-created hardship aspect, this is partially the result of the topography there.
I'll offer another point of view. The garage allows, in my neighborhood, people park in the garage and others park outside the garage. They line up, they move cars in and out. It's not convenient, but they make it work. That would be a preferable solution from my point of view.
At the same time, by paving that, they would give a little bit of a sidewalk look to that side entrance, I believe, wouldn't it?
Well, you'll have to walk around the car now to get into the house, to the door. And with the garage, the assumption is that the car can pull into the garage and be out of view.
Syracuse just came and filed that delivery.
Okay, so you're thinking that this isn't necessary or?
I'm offering another point of view. Christie, what do you think?
I think the self-created difficulty is always a big one, but it's not a hard no if we think that there is a self-created difficulty. But at the end of the day, both you and Ms. Williams purchased this property knowing what it looked like. So it looked like this. The topography was the same. I assume we haven't had any mass erosion over there. So you knew that the driveway was X long, you could park that many cars there, and you might have to do the shuffle if it's a 4-person household and everybody has their own vehicle. So when you close on it and that's the result, then it is self-created. So that's always a problem, but in this case, because it's balancing, the rest of the factors certainly come into play. That's my main point. I agree that there is certainly some shuffling that can be done. We've always done it. South Ave is busy there. There is a hill. It is hard to see. And then there's the driveway. I won't report whether it's legal or illegal at this point. The parking area next door to you that causes some interference.
It's illegal. We've,
Yeah,
That one is illegal.
It's confirmed illegal? Okay, just checking.
No, I was gonna say that it is being on South Avenue, it's very busy, and I'm gonna say I was almost run over when I went to look at the place, so it was, and I parked on the road,
Yeah, from a safety perspective, I kind of agree that, it's preferable if you're able to.
And they're going, I think they're going more than 30 miles an hour coming up the hill.
Exactly.
and there's no sidewalk and there's no buffer even. I was walking along that street yesterday, taking a look. But how does that mitigate the traffic on the street? You're still got cars backing out.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think in some of the pictures there's 4 cars. So 2 and 2 backed up to the garage, right, on both sides. So if it's true that there's only 3 vehicles in any given house, then on one side we don't have to worry about it, I suppose, till they get a 4th car. And then we do.
The two properties share a big wide driveway, and there's a good possibility that sometime it'll be available for one side or the other of you to turn around and to maneuver out.
Okay.
Should we vote?
I honestly don't know.
Can we hear from the owner again, or is that not allowed?
Staff?
I apologize. I'm just giving her an orientation of the property.
Can we hear from the owner again, or is it closed and we cannot?
If you wish, if you need more information, you can call them back up.
Okay,
And if not, then you don't have to lose your car.
okay.
Are both garages available? Are cars in them?
Yes,
State his name
Oh.
and address again.
Paul Axford at 2206 Euclid Ave. Yes, both garages are used, but I don't think you can get a truck in with the height, the headroom there. But even if someone does park in the garage, and if they're the one that has to leave, someone still has to pull out on the road to let them out. So it's,
It's not an uncommon situation in the city.
right, but it's just because of that situation on the hill, and we had the issues there in the winter with the snow and the ice and the cars. Sometimes the guy has a camper parked next door, so you're almost halfway out into the road before you can see what's even coming up, you know? So it's more of a safety thing on my point of view, more than an ease of two parking kind of thing.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'm a little bit concerned in terms of if this property is going, if we were to approve this today, this property would be undergoing work when the other property hasn't had any kind of an approval or anything yet. So I'm a little bit concerned about that, in that in many ways, these two properties are tied together, literally and figuratively, as far as the work that's being planned. Would it be possible for Mr. Axford to maybe withdraw his proposal until we talk to the other owner, or?
Well, I would suggest if you want to wait until the other owner is available, then you should hold this also.
Okay.
So that you get a symmetrical look, if that's, sounds like what you're saying. But since there has been no justification provided or new proposal provided, it's difficult to say what the other owner will do.
Right.
But if you hold it, we can certainly call the other owner and have them.
What's the sentiment up here for that?
That would be fine with me.
They would not change this.
Change this proposal?
No. And we can't make approval with the condition that the other home is gonna do the same thing, can we?
Right, right. I mean, they're two separate cases, but at the same time,
And on the other hand, even if we approved it and a year from now, she doesn't do anything, it's still only gonna be half.
true, that's true. Any recommendation then? Do we just vote on it, or?
Well, I'm not your attorney.
I mean, basically what will happen today is if we do not come to some sort of consensus, then this particular proposal would either, be completely off the table. Yeah, if it's denied, it's correct. And a new proposal would have to come forward, entirely new. Well.
There is a motion on the table.
Okay. So, maybe we should, yeah, we've got a motion and a second, so,
Can he withdraw it at this point, or we have to vote?
Well, I mean, why would
You can decide to hold it based on what you've just said here, if you wish.
So then we would hear this case again next time, or if?
Yes.
And if Ms. Williams does not make a showing of some sort, what happens then?
then we're in the
Then
same
we can vote on it.
situation. There may be more members here, but other than that, it's the same situation. Okay. I think maybe we should withdraw.
Well, hold it.
yeah, and hold the case, withdraw the motion, hold the case over, so that
Okay,
Actually,
well, all right, I withdraw. You have a second?
I'll second that. All right, I need a motion to hold this case till the next,
We're holding it because.
pending more information from the other owner on the next case, and, oh my
A
goodness.
motion, I'll second it.
Okay, so we're holding it pending more information about the property that abuts this one.
seconded by,
Mike,
firsted by,
me.
okay. And are you going to do that with the second case?
Yes, we are.
Okay, so vote on the holding
Correct.
for the first one.
So we have a motion to hold I'm sorry, you said vote on the second?
First.
First, okay. So we have a motion to vote on a motion to hold the first case until our next session.
I seconded it.
It's already been seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Okay. So moved. And on the second case, V19-17, area variance at 2562 South Avenue, I make a motion to hold this case for pending more information.
Now, again, if next time we don't hear from the applicant, what happens? It will be
Hold it
denied?
again, we can deny it, we can
Yeah.
approve it, we can do whatever.
If she doesn't show and it's a denial, then this automatically, the first one automatically would be denied? No.
Approve this, deny hers.
And does Mr. Exford have to keep coming back, or is he, are we,
Yes.
yeah?
Or a representative.
All right, so, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? So moved. Authorizations for Thursday, June 20th.
So we might have another action on the agenda, but I need to talk to the law first, and she's on vacation, our lawyer's on vacation, but she'll be back next week, so.
Okay.
Um,
So we'd
there
be able
could,
to...
you'll definitely have one, but you might have two, but we will let you know that.
Okay.
But as of right now, it's just the one.
Okay, and we can approve the second one being added, what, by email or? Okay. All right, so, can I get a motion to approve the authorizations?
So moved.
All in favor? I assume you're the second?
Okay, I'll do a second. The other Michael's the first.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? So moved. And motion to adjourn?
So, second.
Right? All in favor? Aye. Opposed?